Hey everybody, it's Cody Kessler. We're coming to you live from the MAR convention in Ocean City for the Maryland Association of Realtors convention. Today's episode, we are really excited to be here. We've had a great couple days, lots of real estate agents coming around. We've talked to a lot of real estate agents. So today's show is actually going to be a Q&A with some of the agents that we've asked some questions. What would they like to ask a lender? So some of the questions have been really good. And so we've gone through and we've got a crowd that's growing here. And so we're going to try to do, after we get the pre-taped questions, we're going to take some questions from the crowd and do a little live Q&A. So let's go ahead and start with our first question. And if you are watching live, obviously on Facebook, feel free to chime in, ask questions as you're watching. Like, share us, do whatever you got to do. But let's go ahead and start. Question number one comes to us from Shelley Price of Long and Foster out of Eldersburg, Maryland. Excellent.
Are you going to give me weekly updates of the progress of the loan?
So are you going to give me weekly updates on the progress of the loan? If you're a real estate agent, and we've been asking this question a lot, what are the things that lenders are supposed to do? The number one thing that every agent always says is, communicate with me. Tell me what's going on with the loan. That's what makes a great lender. I kind of laugh when that happens because we look at that and think that that's standard practice. That's just doing your job. So if you're not communicating, that's the problem. So yes, there should be automated updates. There should be weekly updates as the process is going on. All these things that, you're not saying that somebody is doing some amazing job. You're just doing your job. That would be like saying, hey, do you write contracts if you're a real estate agent? Of course you do. So, let's go on to the second question and go from there. This is coming to us from Trish Hamilton, Rosendale Realty.
I guess I would want to know what costs that the lender is supposed to explain to the buyer as far as, what they're going to have to pay out of pocket.
So what costs is a lender supposed to explain to the buyer? Again, this is a great question, but it alludes to the fact that, one, there's a lot of real estate agents out there that think that it's their responsibility to review numbers with their client. And that's fine if you want to do that afterwards, but the reality is this. A good real estate agent knows that a good lender should be explaining all of their own numbers. Just like a lender would not go back and explain terms in a contract for a real estate agent shouldn't be worried or concerned about a lender explaining the numbers. So the reality is this. A good lender is going to sit down and go through the closing cost worksheet or the loan estimate, LE, line by line, penny by penny, and they're going to explain every single piece of information on that document to the client. And then they should be asking them if the client understands, is the client comfortable and wanting to move forward. This actually relieves the agent of any responsibility of having to worry about that. We hear it all the time. Agents say, do you know how much time I spend explaining the closing cost worksheet to my clients? Guys, you should not be spending a second of it unless it's a desired service level that you want to provide to your clients. Next question's coming from Marissa Dolby from Coastal Realtors.
One question my clients always ask me is basically, what is the difference in cost in lenders? They have no idea how to price comparison lenders.
So another great question. We actually covered this on a previous KLA. I think it was last week when we did closing costs. So lenders only actually control two numbers. It's the interest rate and the adjusted origination fees, which is comprised of origination points, discount points, processing, underwriting, what have you. Those fees are the only numbers that a lender actually controls. We are responsible for estimating the rest of the closing costs, but the remaining numbers are going to be exactly the same no matter what lender you work with. Taxes, insurance, all of those numbers. So when you want to tell your client how to compare, there's a couple ways to do it. One, obviously, interest rate. If you're looking at the rate, if one is different, that's pretty obvious. The second is going to be the APR. The APR number, again, there's a complete KLA now on APR and what that number and where it comes from. But that is a calculation of the fees that are included in the APR number against the interest rate. Go to the KLA Now episode to get a much more detailed explanation on that. But if you're looking at it, look at the adjusted origination charges, because those are the fees that they're actually looking for, okay? So that should answer that question. Our next one is from Bernard Mazzell of Mid-Atlantic Realty.
Give me the difference between the pre-approval and the commitment letter.
Fantastic question. So at Kessler Lending Advisors, Division of Homebridge, we've actually built our name on doing what we call a pre-commitment. That is where we truly underwrite all of the documents, not some of the documents, not 25, 50, 75%. Every document that is going to be contingent upon getting financing is reviewed up front by an underwriter, essentially to allow us to be able to deliver a pre-commitment, a legally binding pre-commitment versus a pre-approval. A pre-approval letter is where a loan officer is reviewing documents and signing off on that letter. Doesn't mean that the bank has to commit to anything, and in fact, this is where you find that most problems come up, because a loan officer is going to do something that is sales related. Very quick in process, and again, there's no liability. If the loan officer is incorrect and makes a mistake, that means that your client's financing may not go through. If you're looking for solid financing that is considered cash in hand, you definitely want to look for a pre-commitment letter. Listing agents are looking for these types of letters, and they're looking for them to make sure that their sellers are going to close on time and be able to move forward and go on to get the next home. Our last question is from Vanita Jacobson of Go Green Properties.
A popular question that clients have is, when is the best time to lock on your loan?
Another awesome question. We've covered this on a previous KLA show as well. So my best recommendation is you lock the loan at the time that you take the application, and that you, in a purchase situation, that you have a contract. There's a couple ways that you can do that. We have a proprietary program where it's called a lock and shop. You can actually lock the rate for up to 120 days without a contract on a property. However, generally speaking, if you're looking at market conditions, you want to lock as soon as you get that contract and protect yourself from any kind of market fluctuation. The great thing is, here at KLA, you need to be talking about what we call the float down option. Not all lenders offer a float down, some offer it with a price. KLA, it is absolutely free to float down. So if you lock when you hit the time of the contract, you've guarded yourself from any market increases, meaning the rate going up. But in the time between locking and the property actually closing, if the market goes down, we can float you down to market, give you a credit, whatever it means to be, meaning that the client's going to get the absolute best deal in the period of time that they are closing. So I always recommend save yourself from the market conditions, because if the market gets worse, you can lose a whole heck of a lot more money than you can potentially save. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to thank everybody, and we've had a great time here at the MAR convention. We've met so many great people. We've been able to roll out our new program, the Realtor Partnership Program. So if you're a real estate agent and you want to find out more about some of the things that we were talking about here, and really get into detail about what we do that's different and how we partner to grow your business, give us a call. You can find us online at KesslerLendingAdvisors.com. You can check us out on Facebook, like us on Instagram, Twitter. That's it for today's show. So we look forward to seeing you next week on KLA Now.